Imagine that you're sitting at home and you notice that one of your floorboards sticks out a little more than the others. Out of curiosity, you check it to find that it's not just a loose floorboard, but that there's actually something hidden beneath it. Something that was intended to be kept secret. Something that will definitely make you want to move. Here are the 10 creepiest things people found under their floorboards. Number 10 is a secret cellar. In 2013, YouTuber DEMC7 rented a one-bedroom studio apartment in England. While exploring his new place, he found something very strange under a section of floorboards. At first he thought it was a small hole for extra storage, but soon after he realized that there was a staircase leading down into a dark corridor. This was strange as the apartment hadn't been advertised as having a basement. Taking his camera, DEMC7 descended into the darkness to see what was below. He found a large network of rooms and corridors which led under the building. As he moved, he could hear his neighbors as he was standing underneath their homes. The area appeared to be a completely abandoned level of the house, but the question remained, why was such a large space unadvertised? Number 9 is a hidden well. Colin Steer thought that he knew every nook and cranny of his Plymouth home, but even after 20 years, it had a shocking surprise for him. After pulling up some kitchen floorboards to carry out some maintenance, Colin was dumbfounded by what he found. Staring back at him from beneath his home was a long brick shaft descending underground. After pulling out rubble and soil which blocked the entrance, Colin discovered a 5-meter deep well made of old stone. Research revealed that the well was at least 400 years old, but many suspect it dates back farther to the Dark Ages. Further examination revealed a shocking fact. A sword was embedded deep in the well wall, as if someone had been thrown down there and tried to climb back out. If a body had ever been down there, it's been covered by a blanket of sludge in history. Number 8 is the KFC tunnel. After a KFC closed in St. Louis, Arizona, no one expected to find anything inside other than empty rooms and perhaps the lingering smell of fried food. Instead, what was found shocked the local community. Under some broken tiles there in the floor, there was a small hole, barely large enough for someone to fit through. At first it was disregarded as just another crumbling piece of dilapidated building, but upon closer inspection, the eerie truth was revealed. The hole led deep underneath the building and then entered a long excavated tunnel. From there, a wooden walkway meandered its way underneath the Arizona streets above. Police officers followed the walkway and discovered that it was about 182 meters in length. Nefarious cartels had been using the tunnel to smuggle narcotics and bring people underneath the US-Mexican border. Number 7 is the kit. Redditor Daily Dishable recorded a terrifying discovery underneath the floorboards of a house that she was renting. One day, she and some friends decided to go into the basement as they had no idea what was down there. Underneath some loose floorboards, they discovered a crawl space which led further beneath the house. So, one of the friends crawled under to investigate. The friend soon returned with a duffel bag that she found hidden in the crawl space, which she also discovered led outside the house. In the bag, they found what could only be described as a serial killer kit. This included a ski mask, a black leather glove, and a hunting knife. Was someone planning to break into their house via the crawl space? Or was the bag left over from a previous tenant who flirted with the idea of murdering someone? Number 6 is the HMS Namir. While carrying out some maintenance work at the Chatham Maritime Museum in England, a carpenter pulled up some floorboards and made an eerie discovery. The museum hadn't just been built on top of an old dock, but a rotting ship known as the HMS Namir. The Namir's wooden beams laid hidden from modern eyes, and while they had cracked and rotted, enough of the ship remained for it to be identified. The Namir was a 90-gun ship launched in 1756. It was then involved in a series of bloody conflicts, including the Napoleonic Wars. What made the discovery so creepy was that the museum is the site of paranormal activity, including a young boy who was decapitated by a Royal Marine. Some believe these goings-on are directly related to the Namur, as its bloody past seeps out from the floorboards below. Number 5 are dead animals. The National Trust in the UK is an organization which protects, maintains, and restores buildings that are considered to be of historic value. When their tradespeople are climbing between walls and under floors of buildings that are hundreds of years old, they occasionally make a macabre discovery. That's exactly what happened in a 17th century house in Durham Park. During the Second World War, the house was the host of a number of children who had been transported out of the British cities for fear of being bombed by the Nazis. In 2015, while carrying out renovation work, 2 mummified rats were discovered underneath the floorboards of a nursery, along with a child's shoe and a wooden toy dog, as well as some chocolates. It was as if the rats had been used as toys decades earlier. Number 4 is a little poem. Redditor Gizmo588 moved into a house in the middle of nowhere with his parents. But instead of being idyllic, the house soon revealed a darker side. While exploring one day, Gizmo headed down into the basement. At first, it appeared like any other, but when he looked up, he could see some writing on the underside of the ground floor floorboards. Taking a closer look, he saw that the writing read, "I wrote a little poem, I wrote it on my wrist, I wrote it with a blade, I wrote it with a twist." This discovery freaked him out, but it got worse. His parents soon learned that the house was cursed by death. Not only had an elderly couple passed away in it, but the previous owner, who was assumed to have wrote the poem, was found hanging from a tree in the backyard. The family soon moved to avoid being the house's next victim. Number 3 are witch marks. While excavating and restoring the 16th century old Knoll house in England, archaeologists discovered strange markings on the underside of several floorboards. As it turns out, these markings had an occult background. They were known as witch marks, and they were placed there by someone centuries ago in order to protect the living in the house from the dark supernatural forces. King James I stayed at the house after its construction in 1606. The year previous, Guy Fawkes had famously tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Some archaeologists believe that at the time, some enemies of the king were using supernatural forces to assassinate him. The witch marks of Knoll House then are testament to the ongoing use of spells and witchcraft to both harm and protect important figures throughout history. Number 2 are devil coins. Renovators and archaeologists at Bath Abbey made an incredible find underneath the ancient floor in June of 2018. Several relics were uncovered, but most worryingly, a series of coins were unearthed. On them were Latin phrases and engravings depicting satanic worship. Some believe that the coins were linked to a desolate island known as Anholt near Denmark. It's rumored that satanic ceremonies took place there, and that a high priestess known as Alice Mandragora visited Christian churches in the 20th century. It was there that she hid these satanic items in order to claim the consecrated ground for the Lord of the Flies himself. Disturbingly, nearly 400 coins have been discovered so far. The origin of the coins are still being debated, but many believe that they were forged on Anholt Island, as innocent victims were sacrificed in a satanic rite. And number 1 is the previous tenant. In March of 2017, a man had just moved into his new Houston home. While up in the attic, he realized that one of the floorboards looked a little off. Once he came closer, it became clear that the board was broken and that he could see straight down into the next floor. But it was what he saw that horrified him. The broken floorboard led down between 2 walls. Staring up from that dark place was the empty cavities of a human skull. After phoning police, the tragic and macabre details emerged. The previous tenant, Mary Cerruti, had vanished in 2015. It appeared that she had either fallen through the floor and was trapped in the wall cavity, or someone had placed her there. The cause of death could not be determined because rats had infested the body and eaten away at it until only a skeleton remained. So, the 10 creepiest things ever found under people's floorboards. It kind of makes you wonder what's under your floorboards, doesn't it? Especially if you've been living there for a long time. Have you ever checked? Because you might want to.